Hello and welcome. So tonight's chair yoga for the pelvic floor session. I was just chatting with one of the participants who's here live, and we were talking about continuing education. And since Thursday, I've been at a yoga teacher training with Amy Apoliti, who's very alignment based yoga, and it was all about hands on assists. And one of the modalities, or the kind of the modules, I guess is a better way of saying it, of this approach, it's called starburst chest. And it sounds sort of funny, but it's a shorthand for a way of thinking about strong back, open front. And it really has to do with, yes, the chest, but the pectorals, the head of the arm bone, and the shoulder blades, and how this sort of quarter of our anatomy, a quarter of our real estate, can be really strengthened with thinking about opening up the front body, but without collapsing in the back body. And instead of having this arm kind of do whatever it wants, have strength in the back body, openness in the front body, and kind of this integration with the head of the arm bone. And how that fits in with pelvic floor health is where our breath can or can't expand is where the pelvic floor has its dysfunction. So, whenever there's an imbalance in openness or an imbalance in strength or mobility, there's an imbalance in the pelvic floor, whether it happens up here in the shoulder or down there where we usually feel our pelvic floor symptoms. So, because the breath is such an integral part of pelvic floor health, we really want to notice how different movements or shapes affect our breathing. And so tonight's focus will kind of be on that starburst chest idea, getting our awareness of the sternum, the pectoral muscles, the arm bone, and really notice how we can create strength and mobility without losing some of that subtleness of flexibility. So, with all of that, let's sit up nice and tall. Actually, I'm not going to take my socks off just yet. My feet are a little chilly, and I'll bring in my little ball. So, thinking about our three-dimensional breath, the foundation of yoga for the pelvic floor is how the pelvic floor moves in conjunction with our breath. So, as we inhale, the pelvic floor drops down, and as we exhale, the pelvic floor lifts and tones up. So as you inhale, we can think about the ribs expanding in all directions. And as we exhale, the ribs, the diaphragm come back to center. So this is really the foundation of getting our breath and our pelvic floor to move in harmony. And if we think of the shoulder blade sitting here on the back of the ribs, so we have two shoulder blades at the backs of the ribs. And if they're fixed and stuck and the ribs can't expand, that's what happens to our breath. But when the shoulder blades allow those muscles to move, we can really begin to invite this three-dimensional expansion. And so you can even play with squeezing your shoulder blades together on the back and not even letting the front body expand. So just hug the inner edges of the shoulder blades together. And notice how you can't really get a good breath. It's almost like you're pinned in. And then if you let that go and then you kind of open up through the shoulder blades, it feels so much more spacious. And then when we hold our shoulders up sort of fixed, we can inhale up and down with our upper traps, which isn't the best. But when we're stressed, we tend to kind of do this accessory muscles of breathing thing. And when all of those things happen, our breath has to go somewhere. Our pressure management has to go somewhere. And it's usually down into the pelvic floor. And something has to hold on for stability, whether it's the muscles at the tailbone, the muscles at the sitting bones, the muscles in the inner outer hips or sacrum. Something fights for stability. But if we can get the shoulder blades to move as they're supposed to, get the ribs to move as they're supposed to, and get our shoulder to move as it's supposed to, everything can function better when it comes to pelvic floor health. So thinking as we sit back, leaning a little bit back into the chair, close the eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and just feel those structures in the back body, the back ribs, the shoulder blades, the vertebra, the side ribs. And there's nothing to do or change or even fix in how we're breathing right now. It's just a noticing. Letting go of any pinning of navel toward the spine. Let the breath flow down into the belly, getting rid of any gripping in the upper abdominals. So now that we have that three-dimensional breath, we'll bring our awareness down into the bowl of the pelvis. So you might either lean back into the chair, kind of coming into a bit of a posterior pelvic tilt without totally tucking under, or an anterior pelvic tilt, tipping forward a little bit. We want to find a place at the base of our pelvis where we can kind of feel the tissues of our pelvic floor more in contact with the chair. And for some people, it's going to be tipping a little bit more forward, some tipping a little bit more back, some don't need to do anything. But as you inhale, tune into the bowl of the pelvis, the base of the pelvis. As you inhale, those tissues where they're meeting the chair kind of descend and drop down. And as you exhale, there might be a little delay, but then there's this lift and a tone. And the important part is we're not doing or changing or engaging anything. As you inhale, pelvic floor descends. As you exhale, pelvic floor lifts up and in without you doing anything. So, no Kegel, no engagement, just moving with the breath. So, inhaling, see if you can tune into pubic bones, sitting bones, and tailbone drifting apart just a touch. And as you exhale, pubic bone, tailbone, sitting bone, ever so slightly come toward each other. If you're noticing any tension in the jaw or in the face, you'll need to soften that to feel the movement of the pelvic floor. And then we'll come forward in the chair and we'll add on a little bit of those shoulder concepts into our work. So, part of getting the shoulder girdle to really function well is getting the side body to feel really long. So, we're not going to shrug the shoulders up, but we're going to kind of lift the shoulder blades up a little bit. So, it's less shrugging and more of like a little buoyancy in the side body. So, a little bit of a lift. It's subtle. And then we're going to lift the head of the arm bone back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then soften the front ribs and kind of keep that. So there's this length here. There's this little lift, a little roll back, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then soften the front ribs. So it's easy to go lift back and down, and that's kind of not what we're going for. we're going for this buoyancy here. So the shorthand for it is side body long. So side body long, and then that starburst chest. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then instead of coming into a big back bend, we're going to soften the front ribs, which also allows the shoulder blades to glide down. And that gives us lots of spaciousness. And it doesn't feel natural at first. You want to make sure your head's drawn back in space a little bit. And then tune into that three-dimensional breath. So it takes a little bit of work. Side body long, openness in the front body, shoulder blades called together, soften the front ribs. Three-dimensional breath. I like closing the eyes to bring the awareness within. So with this side body long, starburst chest, there's a lot of freedom, a lot of openness for the breath not to be fixed. So inhaling, breathe into the bowl of the pelvis, and exhaling, feel the muscles of the pelvic floor lift and tone. And then we'll do a little bit of a cat and cow, kind of keeping that idea of side body long. So inhaling, using the hands to press down, lifting the heads, the arm bones, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lift the chin. Then as you exhale, we're going to turn the sternum toward the ground without losing that long shape. So we're not collapsing. Inhale, pressing down into the palms, shoulders lift a little bit, and then squeeze the heads of the arm bones back. Exhale to round, tipping forward. Keep side body long. Inhale, lifting up, starburst chest, really radiating through the sternum, squeezing the shoulder blades. And exhaling round. So you begin to feel this beautiful mobility, peeling open the front body, peeling open the back body without crunching into the vertebra, without creating downward pressure into the pelvic floor. Notice if the breath becomes forced. Let the inhale and exhale be really smooth. And then find stillness. And after a while, you'll really notice that your subscapular muscles can really work to move those shoulder blades up and down the spine. And so sometimes when we think about lifting the arm, we think we're really lifting the shoulder blade, um, but the shoulder blade sort of goes up and around the sides of the ribs. And sometimes in yoga classes, you'll hear raise your arms and then let the shoulder blades come down the back. But really, when we raise the arms, the shoulder blades lift up and they go here, which can bring us into a big back bend. But what we want to do is keep the shoulder blades lifted and soften the front ribs. So let's try that. It's subtle. So we're going to sweep the hands out and up and see if you can lift from the shoulder blades. So it's not quite a shrug. There's some openness. So think really side body long. And then we're going to turn the palms to face behind us. So the thumbs are sort of moving toward the outside. So it's this. And then turn the palms away. Sweep the hands down. So notice what's happening in the shoulder blades. Inhale, come up. Lift up from the shoulder blades. Feel the side bodies get long without a big shrug. Soften the front ribs so there's no back bend. Turn the palms to face behind. And then turn the palms to face away. Sweep down. Inhale, sweeping up, lift from the shoulder blades. Turn the palms behind and exhale, sweep down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, coming up. Lift side body long. Turn the palms behind. Sweep the palms forward and down. Inhale, sweeping all the way up. Begin that journey of side body long without shrugging. Shoulder blades, turn the palms out and sweep down. Nice. And just notice all of that work in those subscap muscles. So as we go toward menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, women, as opposed to the other people who go through menopause, um, go through a lot of frozen shoulder. So with the drop in estrogen and all sorts of other hormonal changes, frozen shoulder happens a lot. So we really want to build subscapular strength and this mobility of the shoulder joint. And so, if anybody watching the recording does have frozen shoulder or a history of frozen shoulder, message me and I'll send you some little tidbits on what to do. We can work together on that to rebuild some of that strength and awareness. But we'll go to another side body long and starburst chest to keep that opening and that strength in the shoulder girdle for pelvic floor health. So all of this to say it's all connected. Let me scooch this out of the frame. It looks very messy. There we go. Okay, much better. All right, so widen your stance. And then we're going to kind of let the sitting bones rock a little side to side. So just feel into your sitting bones. Root down lightly through the feet. And we're going to think side body long. So get kind of buoyant here. Rooting down, soften the hips. So instead of crunching down to get long, we're sort of lightly pressing down to lift up. So root down to rise up. And then we'll place right forearm to right thigh. We're going to keep lots of space here. So kind of hollow out at the armpit. You're lifting your side body up and away. And then left fingertips come to the shoulder as a reminder. We're going to press that shoulder back, 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 back. And as you do, you might look down and notice your ribs beginning to flare. We're going to keep the ribs drawn down, shoulder back, 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 back. Once it comes back, then we're going to open up the front body into a bit of a back bend, anchoring down through the left sitting bone. And if it feels okay in the shoulder, think shoulder blades lifting up to extend the arm. Turn the palm to face over to the right. So we're kind of rotating the arm. Breathe into the side body. 2 more breaths. Make sure you're not collapsing in the supporting shoulder. And then to come up, we're going to turn that lifted hand away and press down like you're pressing through water to come up. And then just take 3 breaths. Let's see if we can feel the movement of the pelvic floor, closing the eyes. Inhaling, feeling length, openness. Exhaling, feel all the bones of the pelvis kind of come in toward each other. This takes practice to feel it. So if you're new to all this, stick with it. But all of the work we're doing is allowing for space to happen. So if you're naturally kind of tense and tight, especially in the pelvic floor, it'll take you a little bit to feel all of this. So let's go left forearm to left thigh. And instead of collapsing, we're going to hollow out this armpit by pulling the side body up and away. We're going to get side body long here. So fingertips on the right. Lift that shoulder up, roll the head of the arm bone back without popping those front ribs. So soften the front ribs, roll the head of the arm bone back. Once it's as far back as it can go, then maybe come into a little bit of a back bend, keeping the right sitting bone grounded, and then reaching up from the shoulder blade, not from the muscles between the base of the neck and the shoulder. And then turn the palm to face to your left. So thumb rotates behind you a little bit. 2 more breaths. And then anchor down through the feet. Turn that right palm to face away. Press the air down to bring you back up. Take a few breaths to notice. One more inhale and a big exhale. And then we'll go one breath, one movement. So we're going to maintain side body long. We're going to kind of come into the rotation, extend from the shoulder blade, and then sweep down, engaging all of those muscles in the side body. All right, you ready? Deep breath in, find length. Exhale, side body stays long. Press away, kind of roll the ribs away. We're peeling up with your inhale. With your exhale, press down. With your inhale, left forearm opening, reaching up. Exhale, press down. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, pressing down. Inhale, still long and buoyant. Find your rotate, unfurl, shoulder blade reaches. Exhale, press down. Inhale, kind of lift the rib cage up and over as you reach up. As you exhale, press those muscles through the side body. And then inhale, find buoyancy and length. Exhale down. Inhale, sweeping up. And then exhale down. Beautiful. Bring the legs back in. Nicely done. Take 5 breaths. See what you notice in the back body, through the side body, through the shoulder. And of course, breathing all the way down into the bowl of the pelvis. And then to integrate some of that work, we'll go into a bigger expression of cat and cow. So we'll maintain that idea of side body long and that starburst chest by squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening up the heart without collapsing in the back body. So the goal is to find strength in the core and strength in the back, but lots of movement through the shoulder blades. All right, so fingertips wrap around the fronts of the knees. As you inhale, roll the heads of the arm bones, press down. Once the heads of the arm bones are plugged in and back, then lift the heart. Lift the chin, squeeze the shoulder blade. And then as you exhale, the elbows go wide, soften, and kind of long through the waist. Inhale, pressing down, squeezing up, heads of the arm bones plug back. Shoulder blades squeeze in, breathing in and breathing out without collapsing in the front body. There's a resistance here. Elbows go wide. Breathing in and breathing out. Even imagine that the heads of the arm bones are sort of going wide and then maybe coming together. Going wide and then maybe coming together around back. Heads of the arm bones go wide, together a little bit toward the front. And so without good scapular movement, the breath doesn't have anywhere to go. So it goes down, creating pressure and problems into the pelvic floor. And then find stillness. Instead of letting the hands rest, bring the hands by the sides, palms forward. As you inhale, feel the shoulder blades kind of puff up. Feel the ribs expand outward. And as you exhale, just soften. Sometimes we really jam our shoulders down. We've been taught to bring our shoulders away from our ears. But really, we don't want them to jam down. When we jam the shoulders down, the shoulder blades can't lift and lower. And then let's come back in, bring the hands here. We'll just do a couple for the neck. So we'll do a little assisted stretch to just get into the tops of the shoulders and the upper part of the back. So deep breath in, and then we'll go right ear to right shoulder and go into it's like barely a stretch. Kind of draw the chin in just a touch. So kind of if 10 were the most intense stretch at all, you're like at a level 2. And then bring right fingertips to kind of cup as much of the head or even down around the ear as you can. Make that stretch like a level 3 or 4. And then ever so lightly press the head back into the hand, pressing into all fingers and thumbs equally. So it's intense, but not real intense. And then bring the hand gently around toward the back of the head. Look diagonally down and to the right. So nice level 2 or level 3 stretch, and then press the head back into the hand into the head, making it maybe 4, maybe 5. And then we'll intensify this by bending and bowing in. So left hand's going to cross over. We're going to bend and bow in just enough to create a stretch through the upper back, especially on the left. You can play with moving the elbow to feel the muscles behind the shoulder blade and in the upper back. Make sure you're not collapsing in the front ribs. There's still some resistance there. And then gently bring the head back up. So kind of ear towards shoulder. Keep the hand there. So we don't want to release the head completely. And then release the hand and slowly bring the head up. Take 3 breaths. Maybe even shake it out a little bit. Those can get pretty intense. It kind of sneaks up on you. And then draw the head back in space a little bit. And then we'll go left ear to left shoulder. And then back out until it's barely a stretch. And then left fingertips, see if you can get as much real estate on the head as you can. And the goal is to not press too hard. It's just a little bit of resistance up and away. And then ever so slightly press into the hand. 3 breaths. Notice if there's any temptation in this right shoulder to jam down away from the ear. Let it stay buoyant. And then we'll bring the hand a little bit toward the back of the head. And then bow in just a little bit, looking down. Press the head into the hand. And maybe a little bit more rounding. Allow that right elbow to swing, feeling the shoulder blade, feeling the muscles beneath the shoulder blade. And then find stillness. Bring the head to its place back kind of over the ear. Release the hand. And this time, let's go chin to chest instead of bringing the head up. Let's just let the head drop forward and then come into a nice forward fold, pressing the forearms down. Lift the chest up and away, so lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. And tucking the chin, look back toward the chest, a few breaths there. And then root down, rise back up. Tick tock the legs side to side. And we'll come to standing. We have more work to do. Okay. So standing tall in our mountain pose and bring the hands by the sides. We're going to make sure the thigh bones are back. So a lot of us have a tendency to jam forward, and this is sort of our standing. We're going to bring the thigh bones back so it feels like the hips are over our ankles. So our trochanter, and it's hard to tell, but you'll sense into it. So if you feel like all of your weight is in the front of the foot, chances are your thighs might be forward. So if you bring your weight so it's middle of the foot, so equally balanced between the ball mounds of the feet and the heels. So that gives the pelvic bowl space to move. Soften the knees, soften the glutes, palms shine forward. And then we'll see if we can feel the movement of the pelvic floor. So three-dimensional breath. Let's do it 5 times. Inhaling, pubic bone, tailbone, sitting bone. Without us doing anything, they drift apart. And exhaling, pubic bone, tailbone, sitting bone, drift in. Inhaling, pubic bone, tailbone, sitting bones, drift apart. And exhaling, they drift in. When you're breathing really well, you feel your arms gently float inward and outward. And then just to kind of seal it into our bodies, go into shopping cart posture. So, shopping cart, pushing and rounding, and see if you notice any movement of the pelvic floor, any movement of the breath. So, you're sort of all up here, all stuck into the shoulders. And then go into kind of sitting on the sofa posture. And we all do it, but just try to have that three-dimensional breath. And granted, when you're sitting on the sofa, you're not standing, but you're sort of tucked under. So there's a lot of pressure here. But when we stack our joints, we get side body long, head back in space, shoulder blades moving. Our pelvic floor can accommodate the pressure management that we all have to do. And so as we go through these next shapes, we'll sort of continue to think about all of that. So we'll go into a variation of downward facing dog using the chair, where we are going to really soften the front ribs, and it's going to feel like we're really sinking into the upper back. But then we're really going to go side body long and then finding that strength in the back body. So some subtle movements. And if you're new to this, you might just watch. And if you've been coming to chair yoga for a long time, this will be similar movements, but a little bit of a different focus of our anatomy. All right. So breath in. We're going to bring hands. So we're side body long. We're getting buoyant here without shrugging. So our shoulders naturally lift, but that's just using the shoulder blades. And then hands pressed down. And as we step back, we're going to roll the heads, the arm bones back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So we're going to feel a bit chesty here. So shoulder blades kind of come together, keep stepping back. And then once you're back and you're feeling some lengthening through the backs of the thighs, we're going to go side body long. So we're going to go Send the pubic bone back, side body long. Keep pressing down into the palms. It should feel like your armpits are sort of hollowed out a little bit. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades a bit together, but that length through the side body, lifting the waistline up toward the sky. Big breath. So this should feel like working your shoulders, but it shouldn't feel like too much stress. And if it does, you can soften and come on out. And then bend into the knees, gaze forward and step forward. Breathing in. And as you breathe in, we're going to get really tall, rolling the heads, the arm bones up. Squeeze the shoulder blades a bit together. Soften the front ribs and let everything settle. Nicely done. Breath in, hands to heart. Side body long. Hands to the chair. Arms long and strong. As you come down, we're kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together. The shoulders kind of come up by the ears. So it's pretty different than how we've been doing it. Once the legs feel like they're in position, reach back through the pubic bone, reach the heart forward, turn the breastbone toward the ground. Sides the waist draw up. Full breath in, pubic bone, sitting bones, tailbone drift apart. You'll feel open at the back of the pelvis. And as you exhale, there's a bit of calming in toward center. And then breathing in, gaze forward, step forward, standing tall. And as you do, get tall through the side body, shoulders sort of come up, shoulder blades squeeze together, and then soften down and land. Let's do that one more time. Full breath in and full breath out. Inhale, hands to heart, get tall and buoyant. Exhale, hands at least as wide as the hips, arms long and strong. And as you drop down, kind of let the shoulders come up a bit toward the ears. Shoulder blades should feel like they're coming together on the back. Once you step back and you feel some sensation through the backs of the thighs, think heart forward, sitting bones back, waistline lifts up. Another breath in and breath out, lifting the sitting bones up and back. And then gaze forward, step forward, breathing in, feeling tall, and breathing out, soften down and land. Nicely done. A full inhale and a full exhale. Let's step forward. We'll come into a warrior one, and we'll do a little bit of work within our warrior. So bring the weight, stepping really close to the chair. Bring the weight into the left foot. Bring the right knee in to meet the left knee. So we're really firing up our inner thigh. Soften into the standing leg. And we're going to keep this distance between hips and ribs really long. So we're going to hinge at the hips. Think chest forward, pubic bone back. So instead of crunching here and collapsing, we're kind of lengthening here. Float that right foot back, bring the heel down. Then we're going to shift in and out. So we're just going to lift the front toes, lift the back heel. And just rocking in and out to get the feet kind of where they need to be for the shape. Once it feels like the feet are there, align this front knee in line with the top hip, and then toes kind of in line with the knee. Root down, kind of lift the back thigh. So leg is straight but not locked. Front thigh presses down, feeling really grounded. And left leg is forward, so left hand is going to come down on the chair. And as you press down on the chair, feel that length happen back in the side body. Imagine the sacrum pointing down. And then we're going to get buoyant through the side body on the right. Lift up with the shoulder blade. Soften the front ribs. Turn the palm to face either to the left or to the palm facing almost behind you. Keep this front knee so steady. Don't let it wiggle all over the place. Take a deep inhale. Then, as you exhale, we're going to bend the right arm to about 90 degrees. And we're going to turn into a bit of a twist, squeezing the right shoulder blade on the back, turning the torso toward the right. And no need to jam into the spine, and then let the hips move. And then, so the knee stays steady. Don't let that front knee wonk to the inside. And then sweeping all the way back up, reaching up. And then exhale, cactus the arm, palm spins forward, squeeze and allow the hips to move. Inhale, sweeping, reaching up. Exhale, cactus the arms, twist. Last time, breathing in, make sure your back toes aren't death gripping the ground. I only say that because mine definitely were. And then coming in. And then steady forward. Landing. Nicely done. And so that one is so good for opening up some stability in the hips. And so when I say let the hips move, this front knee stays open. So this front knee stays steady rather. And we're kind of opening into the hips. So we're doing this little opening and closing of the pelvis. So as we inhale, pelvic bowl broadens and widens. As we exhale, we're turning around. And so it's inhaling and squeezing and forward. So let's go to the other side. Bring the weight to the right foot. Get tall. Adductor squeeze in. Instead of shrinking, expand. Hinge. Lengthen. Expand. Press. We're going to wiggle in and out of this shape. Just rocking in and out. And you can wiggle your feet around as you bring the hips to mostly square to front. And then once it feels like you're in the right place, straighten the back leg, press down through the back edge of the back foot, straight down through the front. And then we're going to just imagine lifting through the shoulder blade. So keep these low ribs tacked down. So we're trying not to shrug, but then we're going to turn the palm to face behind us. And notice how that tends to flare the ribs. So we're going to keep the low ribs settled. Take a breath in. And then exhale, cactus that arm. And keep the ribs from flaring. We're going to squeeze the shoulder back. And then we're going to turn it into a twist. Inhale, turning forward, reaching up. Full extension. Exhale, squeeze and twist. Allow the hips to open, making sure you're not jamming into the back knee. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, squeezing. Inhaling, open. And you can allow the front hand to support you by moving. It doesn't need to stay locked in place. I think we have one more for 5 altogether. And then the hand comes down, step on forward. Landing. Notice what you feel. Let's take 5 breaths. Inhaling into the shoulder blades, into the belly, into the back. And exhale. Notice any clenching of the glutes or if you fall into any of those habit patterns. One more breath in and out. And then shake it out a little. We'll do a little something different, not for very long because this is weight bearing on the wrists. But we do want to continue to build strength in the wrists. So we're going to step a little bit away from the chair, bring the hands a bit forward of the shoulders, and then step back. So almost a little down dog ish. We're going to come into a bit of a cat and cow. So rounding, looking back toward the knees, maybe even bend the knees, tuck the tail. And then inhale, shining the heart forward, rolling the shoulders, even squeezing the shoulder blades together. You can keep the knees bent or straighten the legs, really yogi's choice. Exhale to round. You may bring the shoulders a little bit more over the wrists. Inhaling. Really let the pelvis open and broaden at its base. Exhaling, feel the base of the pelvis sort of come in. Making sure if you're bending the knees that they don't collapse inward, that they're tracking over the center of the foot. Let's do one or two more. You can always come up if this doesn't agree with your body. And then to come out of the shape, we'll bring hands to chair, to the back of the chair, press down, and come on up with strength. And then shake that out. Let's take 5 breaths. Feeling the arms move, feeling the ribs move, feeling the breastbone move, feeling the pelvis move. All right, let's have a seat. Put my socks back on. And nicely done. And we'll do a little bit of a deltoid scapular stretch. If you're able to wrap your arms in eagle, go for your eagle wrap. But if you're not, a lot of us are not, we're going to bring the arms forward, bend the elbows, and then we're going to bring the right arm over the left. Right arm over left, and then maybe bring the backs of the hands together. And if that doesn't work, you can do right arm over left and give yourself a big hug. But then we're going to bring the backs of the arms together and then round. Instead of rounding in, we're going to dive forward, think side body long, and then round. So rather than collapsing and folding in, we're reaching a bit more forward. We'll rock a little side to side. See if it feels good to bring the heads of the arm bones up near the ears or the temples, or whether it feels better to keep them plugged in. And then come up. We'll sweep all the way up to a big Y shape. And then if eagle wrap is accessible, do left over right. If that's not, you can do elbow over elbow and bring the backs of the hands, or cross over. And then we're going to think reach forward and then round and bow. Maybe a little rock side to side. And see if it feels good to bring the head of the arm bones up near the ears and do this, or whether it feels better to have the arm bones plugged back into the sockets. And then come all the way up to a big Y shape. Deep inhale and then exhale. Bring hands to heart. And then take a deep inhale. And then deep exhale. Tuck the chin. Look down. Press the palms together. And then turn the fingers to face forward. Straighten the arms. It's going to feel like a little bit of a weird sensation. So, pressing the palms together, straighten the arms, and see if you get a sense of unplugging the heads of the arm bones. So, you're sort of reaching the heads of the arm bones forward. You'll feel a stretch through the shoulder blades. And then exhale, begin to plug the heads of the arm bones back in. When the hands get in close, gaze forward and sit up tall. So turn the fingers to face forward, begin to bow and press. Imagine the fingertips are reaching away from the shoulder blades. Imagine you can almost disconnect your arms from the shoulder socket. And then as you plug the heads of the arm bones back in, draw the shoulder blades back in, bring hands to heart, begin to look forward. Let's do that one more time. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, tuck the chin, spin the fingers to fist forward, press, 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 press the palms together. Reach, 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 reach. And then plug the heads of the arm bones in, bend the elbows, begin to lift up and gaze forward. And then shake it out a little. That's a weird one, but super effective, especially when you're able to really press the palms together because we're bringing the muscles, we're sort of contracting the muscles at the insides of the arms and the insides of the scapula. So we're sort of pressing everything. It's such a weird exercise, but effective. Let's come on back. Settle and rest. Return to your awareness of breath. Return to your awareness of the body in a bigger way. How we're all this pressure management system, breathing in and out 10,000, sometimes 20,000 times a day. And every breath is an opportunity to call in what we want from our life and what we can give out into the world. And if any part of our breath or our body are constricted and bound up with tension or tightness, it limits how we function. It limits how we move through the world with ease. Our yoga practice is all about cultivating joy in our body so that we have joy as we go out there into the world and do our thing. So take another few breaths, inhaling into the bowl of the pelvis. And exhaling, let it all go. Feel everything in the body come back to center. A little gentle tone toward the midline. And if you'd like, bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Just reflecting on this idea of strength in the back body, openness in the front body, kind of a strong back, soft front, brave way of thinking and moving in the world. Not all open hearted and loosey goosey, but open hearted with support, with strength, with awareness. Take a breath in, float the eyes open, reach the hands out and up. One more opportunity for side body long, and then soften, hands to heart. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening whenever y'all are watching this. And thanks to folks who signed up live and for signing up for the recording. Next week is going to be our on the mat yoga for the pelvic floor. And then so throughout the month, it'll still be alternating our Mondays, chair yoga and on the mat yoga for the pelvic floor. And then starting in June, I'm going to do a series. So every Monday is going to be a part of a series. I think I'll start with on the mat yoga, and we'll do a series of 4 on the mat yoga and then a series of 4 for chair yoga. I'll sort of just be doing it in a little bit of a different way, a little bit more workshop-y start to finish as a series. So changing it up a little bit, but more on that later. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me turn the recording off and check in.